Yo, what is up, CB? How you doing? Welcome in. Sorry, I'm just kind of getting stuff set up here. I don't really have all the fancy stuff on my MacBook here to um starting screen, all that kind of stuff. So or the fancy, I don't have Discord, all that stuff here on this screen to share my link. So it is what it is. So I am here. You got me again today. Awesome. Yo, what's up? There we go. We have a camera. We do have a face time camera this time though too, so that way I can sit there and show you guys what's going on. Don't mind. Just realized my power cables are all hanging down again. I need to zip tie those up. But yeah, welcome to the repair station, guys. And today we are going to be taking this customer's PS2 that's pretty dirty, as you can tell. And we're going to be giving it a deep clean. We're going to rip it open, get all the dirt out. You can see right there. This is where PS2s died. Right there. See all that dirt in there? All that dirt and grime. This is where a lot of people messed up because, unfortunately, if you look here, you have your power plug. Your power supply sits right there. So that's where your power supply is. And all that right there that's supposed to be going across, it doesn't get any kind of airflow through it. And yeah, causes a lot of issues. So we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna tear this guy down, and we're going to see what it looks like. Excuse me, the allergies are killing me today. Freaking the wind's kicking. I'm sure you'll hear it over the microphone, so don't mind it. This time of day it seems to be normal around here. We end up getting like hurricane force winds out here. So I'm gonna go and shut the Kiro camera down for a little bit, and we're gonna start tearing into this thing. So let's do this. So we're gonna go to the iFixit kit. Really nice kit for doing this type of repairs and stuff like that. So a lot of people, I think a lot of people's issues with wanting to clean their systems out, because if you just blow in here, you could take a can of air, blow this all out, and all it's going to do is, like, most of it's going to go inside, land on the board, cause more problems, cause shorts, stuff like that. So I think a lot of people's problems, they don't want to rip these apart. They feel uncomfortable, like they're going to have more issues. So this is what I'm here to show you. I'm going to show you that this video, or not this video, show you that tearing apart a PS2 is really not that hard. So you need a flathead, and you got to remove these feet here. Just stick it underneath there, pry it up a little bit. There's going to be 6 of them. And they'll be in the rubber feet here. The rubber feet are little standoffs. They also hide screws. And then on the fats, you're going to have 2 more right here. So as you can see, I removed all the legs. Or, well, they're kind of legs. They're these little rubber standoffs. They're legs, but they're also caps to hide the screws. But there's going to be 2 more right here, which you won't see on the slims, but they are on the fat. So take your flathead, kind of go in here, do that. Is my mic too low, Christina? I can turn it up. Don't lose that. Come here. Okay. So there'll be 8 screws, 6 long, 2 shorts. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab a Phillips bit here, and let's go ahead and start getting some of these screws out here. Also, be careful. Don't use a drill unless you have like a really soft touch drill, because if you hit these too hard, you can break them, and you can break the plastic, and it will make it so that your console doesn't actually go back together the correct way. So okay, and I'm wrong. I forgot. It's 4 long, 2 mediums, and 2 shorties. I forgot the way the tray's set up here. Damn it. Okay, we get these two shorties here. Ah. Come on. Alright, so now you're going to want to remove the expansion bay door. You could have done it before. It doesn't really matter the order you remove that. You just kind of want it out of the way. So now on some models, you're going to have your void stickers going to be here. And then other models, it's actually going to go right over the top of this cover right here. So if I pulled out my PlayStation 2 Fat actually has the void sticker right over this. So if you go to remove that door and pull the console apart, it will do the void on it. So all we're going to do here is, I don't like to pull them off completely, is I just like to rip them to where the gap's at. That way the sticker stays kind of there. I'll let the customer do that, but I've already got permission that I would have to tear that void sticker, so it's not a big deal there. And then, oh, one more tear right here, because clamshell separates. All right, so now once you have all the screws out, you're going to want to lift up from the back. Okay, so where the power switch is, you're going to want to lift up and kind of go forward a little bit, because these the controller ports here want to grab. And then you also want to be careful with what I just did there, which is that slipped out of my hand, is these guys tend to stay on here, and this tells me that this has actually been pulled apart before. There's actually supposed to be a screw that holds that right there, holds that in place. So this tells me someone's actually been in this console once before. And as you can see the dirt build up right here on the edges. You can see the dirt built up around here and around the ports. So we're going to get all that cleaned out, get it all nice and clean there. But I'm going to go ahead and set this guy out of the way. Okay. Pull this sticker so we can lay this guy over. All right. So now we're going to start pulling off some of the extra parts so we can actually get the motherboard out. Is that another one? Yes, it was another one that was brought in. This one is I'm doing for a customer. No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. Okay, put that guy over here. Okay, so that gets the controller port out of the way. And then we're going to have a couple screws here that holds the fan and the back plate on. Okay, so that's those two. And not get the sticker all the way. There it goes. Okay. So now this is all should come out in one piece. So there we go. Get the plastic housing out of the way, and as you can see here, feel that dirt. And you can see just like how much buildup is right there. Yeah, that's disgusting. So, like I said, it's a big killer to these consoles. They get hot. Okay. So we're going to flip this guy over. And there's your power board. Like I said, your power supply board right there. That's sitting right there in all that area. Which is funny, I've actually had to fix a PlayStation 2 Fat that came in because someone shoved a coin somehow inside the case. And it actually shorted out the transistor and blew the fuse and popped some other stuff. I forgot this one is a little slightly bigger. So we're going to do a full teardown on this guy. pull the power supply off. Just make sure capacitors look good. Make sure it looks faulty. Make sure it's clean on both sides, stuff like that. This is the kind of stuff that I like to do. A lot of other people don't want to tear the console apart. They just want to blow it out, get as clean as possible. So you do want to be careful. There is going to be two plugs here. Come on, there it goes. Yeah, see how dirty that is? Might not be able to see it with the camera because it's on such a light color, but there's a lot of dust and stuff like that. So we'll go ahead and get all that cleaned up. This is one of my favorite power supply boards because the fuse is actually removable. You can actually pop this fuse out and replace it, where something like the one that's on my old power supply board, it was actually soldered on. You couldn't remove it very easily without doing much work. So at least this one's easily replaceable, repairable, stuff like that. So, but it's a very basic design. There's not a whole lot of small parts. You can easily rebuild these if you want to. So, but we're going to get this guy cleaned up and just kind of poke around and make sure stuff looks good. Remove the hard drive, bay door, cover, whatever you want to call it. All right, and then we're going to have a couple more screws to remove to get this guy off. So we can go back to the smaller. No, even smaller. This is also where the console gets more complicated, is when you get down to this level. And like I said, I just want to make sure, with as much dirt as there's crammed up in here, I want to make sure that there's not anything kind of trapped up underneath. So, okay. So, let's get this fan out of the way here. Okay, get this guy out. There we go. All right, now. So let's keep that guy separate. Okay. Then there's this little plastic shield here. Don't lose this. This is a big protector from your power supply to this metal housing. So keep that guy. Don't lose it. Pull this guy. Gets this guy out of the way. As you can see in here, you can pull the fan out and you can see just how much. I've seen worse fans, but it's got a lot of buildup on it. Get this guy out of the way. Get the controller port out of the way. Okay. So now, continue removing the bottom cover, heatsink / EMI shield, whatever you want to call it. Can't remember if these two have to come off or not. And like I said, I'm going a lot further than you normally have to, just because kind of want to show how easy it is to get in here and do some of these other further down repairs. So there's these press pins right here. This is what's holding the laser on. You don't want to drop it too hard. So be careful because there's going to be a couple ribbon cables you have to pull out. And you don't want to rip them. You rip the ribbon cables, you're pretty much searching for parts to replace, or you're just throwing it away and buying a new console. Okay. And then there's one more right here. It's kind of a page. Slide your disc, or not your disc, your laser that way. And now you can either use a screwdriver if you have it, or if you have the plastic spongers, use a plastic sponger, which I do have, so I'll show you. I actually have a kit for this. So you have like these guys here. You can get in there and they're plastic. They won't damage anything. You also have these nice little hooks that you can use. And this is just your basic cell phone repair kit for replacing screens and stuff like that. Okay. Oop, wrong side. So there's going to be a little plastic piece in here. I'll show you. I'll bring it up closer once I get the cable removed that you have to release. And that will allow you to get that ribbon off without causing damage. So set this guy down and then I'll show this to you. So right here, there's this little black clip right here. You pull that guy back, releasing it, and I'll allow the ribbon just to slide out no problem. But see, you can see right here, look at, there's dust and dirt all over inside this drive here. And that's going to cause other issues too. So we'll get all that cleaned out of there. Put some white lightning grease that I like to use on there on the tray to get that sliding better. Hopefully that, make it run a little quieter. And then you can see right here the buildup on the thermal pads. We'll get all that cleaned out. That's probably part of their overheating problem is these pads. They're not sticky at all. So I don't want to get rid of them because they do need to go on these other pieces. If I had replacements, I would just replace them. Okay, so there should be... Is there a screw I'm missing? Or is this going to be more thermal paste? Nope, there it is. Okay, it's just more sticky. Just making sure I didn't want to pull too hard and have it come out. Okay. So you have it. So right there, make sure you're careful. There's other pads. You don't want to lose those pads. Those pads are cooling pads. Those are what pull heat from your electronic parts that heat up to keep them from dying. Really? So you can see right here, like how much dirt's sitting all over that section right there. So we're going to get all that cleaned out. Get all this cleaned off. So let me pick this tray up that just slid down. I don't know where the heck all my cleaning brushes went. Huh. I'll have to figure that out. I'll have to figure out where they went. Alright, so, as always, trusty toothbrush is all I use for my cleaning brush. So for electronics, you want to use 100% alcohol. So I have this nice little bottle. Allows me to go in here. And we're just going to go lightly. Kind of just take all the dirt away here. You don't want to use anything too rough, because anything too rough can cause scratching, cause other issues. So you want to be careful. You don't want to damage parts. And all we're trying to do is just give it a clean. Just remove all the dirt, the dust. Make it look better. So yeah, like I said, we're just trying to get in the middle, just get everything out, check all the ports, make sure everything's nice and clean. Like I said, some of the parts you want to be careful on how hard you press. So I've got a really light touch. If there's anything that, like the dirt, like right here, like that stuff is all gunked up. Looks like there might have been something spilled on it, and there's nothing nothing really soft and delicate there. So I'm just gonna come in and I'll kind of give that a little bit of a tougher love here, just to kind of get that off. Because you don't know what it is. If it's like Coke or some kind of soda, it can actually cause a corrosion. I've seen it. I actually have a Wii I can pull out at some point and show you guys where it belonged to a boys and girls club, and a kid spilt their soda all over the front of it, and there was so much Coke caked into the front of the board, it actually made the board start to separate. So I kind of keep it around as like a fun little show off to show what Coke can actually do to electronics. So now it's not all gunked up there. It looks a lot cleaner, as you can see. Board's looking a lot nicer there. So now we'll flip it over. Kind of give this side here same kind of treatment. Just kind of give it a light little, because there's a lot more delicate parts on this side. So we're just kind of giving it like a light dusting, right? Just to kind of get everything off. So then we're going to look around, just look for damage. I almost forgot that spot right there. It's all the USB ports on the front. Kind of get in there, clean the pads off. Okay. Go through here, clean up the audio video port, make sure it's all clean. So there we have it. Board's clean, USBs look fine. You know, you want to check these ports, these serial ports, stuff like that. Nope, there's some more right there. Let's get that guy off. There we go. So there you go. Your board's clean. Make sure if you're the other thing is I have an ESD band attached to my go ahead, Christina, shoot, what's your question? if you don't have static band or something like that to keep your desk from building up static electricity, be very careful. You can fry your board. It's attached to my chair. It's also attached to my desk. So I try to keep the electrostatic down so that way I don't have that kind of issue. Plus, I'm also in a garage, so I don't have like carpet. I don't have a whole lot of stuff to build up static electricity. I'm on a concrete floor, but in your house, if you're, you have your office has a rug and stuff like that, it can cause static buildup, stuff like that. So there's our motherboard. Let's get these screws, the bits out of the way here. We'll slide this guy over here out of the way. Okay. Now we're going to come in here. Do the same thing here. Get all this out of here. So you want to be careful around the laser. And if you don't have white lightning or some kind of grease, do not use anything to clean off your rails. Because if you run your rails dry, they will stick. It will get messed up. I do have white lightning grease I use to replace. So I'm taking all the old grease off just to kind of get all the dust and stuff out of there. And then I'm going to re-grease it back up just to make sure. So, see Christina's question here. Do most of the systems that you have repaired? It all really depends. Dust usually causes more overheating issues than anything else, or it will cause shorts because when you're talking about smaller electronics stuff like your processors, stuff that has like a small AC or CAN bus type signals that we'd call it, something as small as a human hair can actually cause a short and cause enough inductance on the circuit that it can actually make it look wrong and cause other issues, whether it's glitchiness in like your graphics, your audio. It could cause resistance like in your clock signals and actually cause the system just not want to work. But usually 9 times out of 10, your dust is just going to cause your system to overheat and cause other, just like I said, just little minor glitches. Other than that, usually most of my problems are bad power supplies. Someone plugged in the wrong power supply, blew a fuse, stuff like that. So, but I have seen dust kill systems, especially like the Xbox 360s that were notorious for overheating. That's where like a lot of the Red Ring of Death came from, was because people would play their Xbox 360 on the ground, and it would cause the system to suck all that dust in, and if you weren't willing to rip it apart and clean all that dust out, it would get bad, and it would, like I said, it would overheat a lot. So I advise a lot of people. I know it's kind of cool to like take it over your friend's house and just kind of set it up. Doesn't really matter where. Don't put your console directly on your carpet. Put it up on a phone book, a binder. Put it up on another console. Like if you got 2 consoles, put one that you're not playing on the bottom and put the one you're playing on top. That way, at least there's some separation between the dirt that's in your carpet to your console itself. So we're going to slide this guy up. Be very careful. Don't push too hard because I want to get all this dust out from behind it. Okay. Now we're going to go to a smaller brush. I had to replace them. Some of my other ones, they died. So the other type of brushes I like to use are paint brushes. So these little small cheap paint brushes, because you can get kind of in the cracks, especially down here, and just kind of get the dust off. Sometimes they're too soft, so make sure you're getting something that has a little bit of give to it, or not give, but a little stiffness to it, and then get in here and allows you to get just some of the tighter, cramped areas dusted out. made it. All right, now we're going to go to the Q-tips. And we're going to grease this guy up, get this guy ready to go. So, white lithium grease. Okay, it's a multi-purpose grease. It's meant for gears, stuff like that. Keep it around for your garage door gears, stuff like that. It works really well. There's a lot of other greases you can get. This one's available readily at pretty much Walmart, auto parts store, stuff like that. So all we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of this, and I'm going to put a little bit on the rails here, because you want the rails to slide nice and well. And then we're going to pull this guy very carefully back, and then get the rest of the rail. And you don't want to go too heavy. You just want to put a light coat on there, because you don't want it to build up, because this stuff can cause a short, can cause other issues, can get on your laser and cause your laser to not see, become cloudy and stuff like that. So, and then we're just going to come in, take the other side, take off any excess we have, so that way, again, it doesn't build up. And that thing's already sliding so much better. Okay, now the last part we want to do on these guys is you want to put a little bit on your plastic parts also. So there's these little teeth in there. I don't know if you can see that. There's some teeth in there. You want to put grease on there. You want to put grease on this teeth right here, because that's what drives moving your door in and out for your PlayStation. So we're going to grab a little bit more grease here. And we're going to put a little bit on the teeth here. Okay. And if you can't get to all of it, it's not a big deal. Because once it starts moving, it will get on the other teeth and actually cause it to spread. Like, you'll just get around. Don't want that to stay there. Okay. Grab a different Q-tip here. Little gear back here, get a little bit on the edge here. It's one of those things where a little bit of grease will actually go a really long way. So you just want to, like I said, just make sure you're putting some on there. All right. For buildup, I don't see any buildups. We're good. All right. Nice and clean, greased, ready to go. Okay, so I'll take care of the disk drive. And if you want, you don't feel like you're getting it well enough, you can also come in here, remove these 4 screws right there, remove the top, and it'll give you better access to all that stuff. You can also do that to get to your laser if you want to clean it. I have a cleaning kit. I have a music disc I can put in. It'll actually clean the laser for me. And I like to run that whenever possible. I don't like to try to force clean lasers, because sometimes it causes too much pressure on the laser, causing it to prematurely die and go out and stuff like that. So I don't want that. So now we're going and we're knocking all that dirt that was on those edges there. Get off that edge of those thermal pads, so that way it doesn't go back into the console. And if you're doing this for yourself, there's kits you can buy online that you can buy to get new thermal pads, stuff like that. There's people who do kits for you, so you can actually go about all that. I'm going to hit this guy with the air duster. I'm going to pause the mic for a sec. So I don't like buying canned air all the time. So I have an air gun hooked to my compressor, and then I have a pressure gauge that allows me to keep the pressure down, so it's not over blowing air, because you don't want to blow too much air because you can actually rip parts apart. I If I still had it up here, if I didn't clean it up, I could show you a ribbon where a guy tried to use his air compressor to blow dust off of his console, and he actually ripped the ribbon that controls the laser, and it caused more issues. So be very careful with how much pressure you're putting on your console, because you could do more damage than good trying to clean it out. Okay. So now we'll move on to the controller port. Get all this dirt off. Plus, with this guy out, you can kind of go in. You can also access your memory card slots. Get those guys all nice and cleaned up also. I'm very thorough, as you can tell. I like to go through and just make sure it's all good. I don't want the dust to go, the dirt and dust to go back inside. Plus, it allows me to see everything and check all the pins, make sure nothing's bent, make sure nothing's damaged otherwise. Because these guys are older. They've been around a while. They've been dropped, beat, kicked, all that kind of stuff. So I just kind of want to make sure that I'm just giving a due process and making sure there's nothing else that I can fix if I haven't already ripped apart. Because the better job you do, the more that customer is going to want to bring it back to you if they know you did a good job and thorough. They're going to refer their friends to you, stuff like that. So you don't want to take shortcuts. You don't want to cut corners. You just kind of want to do everything right and make sure that you do a good enough job, like I said, that they want to come back. They want you to do their stuff again. So go through here. This is going to be the important board where you want to watch what you have, watch what you're doing, because this is where age usually hits first, is right in your power supplies. And I'll show you here once I get this guy all cleaned up, because then you'll be able to see the colors better and stuff like that. And we're going to look for damaged parts. And I have an Xbox behind me that has one, so I can kind of show you an example of what I'm looking for if I don't find something on this guy itself. And of course, don't do this, but it's plugged in. You don't want to mess with the transformer here. You don't want to get shocked. It's not pleasant. Okay, back of the board looks fine, but let's give it a quick little brush over anyways. Pause again, or not pause, mute again real quick. Alright, I'm back. Wanted to get underneath the transformer, stuff like that, in these little corners. So, if it's not your fuse, if your fuse doesn't take care of it first, usually what happens is when you have issues, these are your voltage regulators. They give you clean voltage, and usually most of these consoles are usually around 5, because most gaming consoles are about a 5 volt setup on them. I can't remember what the second one is on a PS2. I'd actually have to look it up. I don't know if they're both 5 or no. They're two different numbers, so. But these guys right here, if they get separated from the heat sink, that's what this little metal shield right here is. It's a heat sink to pull heat because these guys get hot. They're converting voltages. They're taking something from a little bit higher and knocking it down to a clean, flat voltage that's for the console to use before it goes into the motherboard. So this little heat shield right here, if it gets separated from the voltage regulator or a MOSFET, it will actually cause it to overheat and it will prematurely die. Sometimes it's not a bad idea if you know what you're doing to remove those screws, kind of separate them a little bit, clean it out, and then throw new thermal grease in there, reseat it, because that will help it actually transfer heat better. These guys look fine. Doesn't look like one's any pulled it apart. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this one alone. And we'll move on to the next part. Let's get the fan all cleaned out here. So you don't want to oversaturate your fan. If you oversaturate your fan, it could cause issues because there's a bearing in there. So be careful on how much you use or where you put your alcohol, because there's a bearing. If that bearing goes out, you'll hear it squeal, and it could either just become really noisy, and then you're replacing the fan, or it could cause the bearing to dry out too much, which will cause it to heat up and cause it to seize, and then the fan just stops working, which is even worse than just a noisy fan. Because a noisy fan, you're just like, oh god, my console's loud, whatever. But if the fan dies, your console will actually overheat and cause it to die, which is what we're working on right here. And I'll tell you what, these PS2 fans are not necessarily hard to find, but they're getting harder and harder to find as people move away. There's some people out there who are creating aftermarket fans to help, like keep parts going and stuff like that. So you can still find the parts. It's just a matter of searching for it. But who wants to go search for a part, if they don't need to replace it? Okay, another tip I want to show you guys here. A lot of people don't know this. They'll just go and hit their console if they're blowing it out from the outside. They'll take their air and just hit it and make this guy spin. Come on. So I can hit it with air and make it spin. Well, there's two things that can actually do. Certain types of fans will actually act as a transformer. It can actually cause voltage to back up the line and actually feed into your console. And if it's unplugged and it's not ready for that, it could cause unwanted voltages in certain parts of your board. The other thing is you can also overspin your bearing and cause your fan to die too. So if you are using like some kind of canned air and you're trying to blow it out, if you're going through like a grate like this, stick like a pencil or a screwdriver through it, hold your fan still, and then blow it with your fan held still. Don't let it spin. Just blow it out while it's still and stationary. A little tip there for you guys, so that you don't, if you're not doing what I'm doing and ripping the whole console apart, you're just cleaning it out, you can stop from causing more damage to that. A lot of people don't realize that actually can happen, and they just don't care, so they just start blowing air in there, and they cause, like I said, more damage, more problems. So this is your power plug and your fan plastic. So only a couple more pieces to go, and then we can move on to reassembly. And the reassembly is actually a little bit harder than the disassembly, that's for sure. Okay, another problem I've seen with these consoles is switch right here goes out. Not a hard fix. Okay, I've seen people literally throw these consoles away because they think that, oh, my switch died, or I crushed the power port, and so they toss their console. Yeah, you can actually just buy this piece right here online. There's actually people who are 3D printing them. But if you have access to one of these ports, it's actually not hard to replace it. You just take a flathead screwdriver, you come in, and there's a keyway right here. Okay, why are you not releasing? I don't want to break it. It's been a while since I removed one of these, so. Come on. Why are you being a pain? There it goes. I released it. There you go. So yeah, you just get that guy loose off the little pin here, and it'll actually remove out of there. And then you could just actually just replace this piece right here, and have your console back if you've damaged it. Does it matter what kind of alcohol you use to clean your system off? It does actually. Where's my bottle at? So you want to use like a 90% or better alcohol, and you want to make it sure it's clean alcohol. You don't want something like this. Okay, a lot of people are like, oh, I just have this stuff sitting around. Can I use it? It's like, no, you can't. Come on. Get. I got too much crap up here. Oh, come on. There we go. So like this stuff right here. This is hand sanitizer. So it's 70% alcohol, but it has like a moisturizer in it, and it has other stuff for smell. So it gets rid of the alcohol smell, and this will actually, it will clean it, but the problem is it will leave it with like a sticky residue, and that's definitely what you don't want. So you don't want that around. I keep that bottle around for sanitizing my hands after I'm done cleaning someone's console, just because most of this dust and dirt that I'm cleaning off here is skin cells, dead skin. So I'm not wearing gloves, but I'm not touching my face. I'm not like eating anything, drinking anything, stuff like that. So that's what I keep the hand sanitizer around for. So if I do, I can sanitize my hand afterwards. Granted, I'm using so much alcohol cleaning, it's all over my hands and stuff like that, that I would get rid of it. So, all right. So now I'm going to pop this guy back in here. This guy locked back in. There we go. All right. So there you go. Now it's all nice and clean. So that's that part. Let's see. Get this guy all nice and dusted off. Okay. So that's that. Oh, we got this guy here. So let's get this guy cleaned out. So yeah, you just want to use pure alcohol. Because you, like I said, you don't want the sticky residue afterwards. You don't want to have to deal with that. Another ribbon to be careful with. You don't want to damage this guy, because if you do, then you're not going to be able to turn on and reset your console. So be careful with it. Okay. Get the other metal shell up here. Get this guy all cleaned up. Remember, be careful of these pads. You don't want to lose them or move them, because if you don't know where they go and they move off, you won't know where to stick them back, and then they won't be pressing on the proper parts, pulling the heat off. Like I said, nothing to worry about if you're just being careful. Okay. All right. We can go ahead and start our reassembly now. So with all the parts clean, we'll clean the outer shell off last before I put it back on, because I have some Dawn dish soap I'm going to use to help get the dirt off to make it shine, because alcohol won't like clean dirt off in a sense that makes it like shiny afterwards. So we'll use Dawn to clean up the other part. But we can start getting the console back together, like I said. So all right. Out of space a little bit here. All right, so this guy goes here. I'm backwards, am I? I am backwards, okay. I am backwards. Alright, I have to correct myself here. Alright, so this guy will slide back on here. Okay. And then you want to make sure that this little plastic piece here stays in place, because that's for all your protection on this side over here, to make sure it's not touching the board and creating traces and stuff. So we're going to slide this guy back on. Or actually, wait, what am I doing? Okay, yeah, that's on this side. Never mind. I was correct. All right, I'm just making sure I'm not missing my standoffs here. That's all. Okay, so with that back on, we can flip this guy back over, and we can start putting our little tiny baby screws back in to sandwich our two pieces of shielding back together. Don't over tighten. There's a reason why I use a smooth shafted type screwdriver. Do not use something like this where it's squared off, because then you could grab and actually torque. This guy will not allow me to really over torque. It does have like flat spots here I can grab with like a pair of pliers to break, but you don't want to use that to over tighten, because if you over tighten, you can actually cause the board to squeeze and crack and cause other issues. That's the wrong one there. And that's the last thing you want to do. Like I said, you don't want to over tighten and cause your board to warp, cause parts that don't need to be overstressed getting stressed. Especially when it comes to putting like your shell back on. And when I go to rebuild my Xbox, I'll show you guys. I have to replace the whole shell because whoever had it before me actually over tightened the shell and shattered most of the holders holding it together. And so I was searching for a replacement so that I can have a new case to put my Xbox in. Where's that guy hold to? Oh, okay. For a second, I thought it wasn't tightening down. I was like, what the hell? Okay. Pretty sure that this is one. Yep. Sometimes you have to grab from the back and kind of help the board along to get it in place. Okay, last of these ones. Just to get those threads started. Okay, then this, whoop, I dropped my screwdriver. Okay, yeah. Make sure you're getting the screws back where they belong. You want the proper screws. One, you don't want to cross thread. Two, if the screw is too long and you put it somewhere you can drive through and cause crackage, other things to break. You can cause shorts depending on how close parts are together. So, look how nice and shiny that thing looks now. It's not all nasty and dirty. Still have a little residue, but that's fine. So, okay, so we have that. This guy will go here, but I need to wait till I put my fan back in. Like I said, it's kind of been a minute since I've actually done one of these guys, so I'm just making sure that I put everything in the back in the proper spot. Okay. So controller port goes right there. And can I access that or no? Can't. Okay, so there's, okay, so that's something I messed up on. All right. I gotta loosen this guy up. So, because there's a trapdoor latch on the controller mechanism. So let me loosen these guys up so I can get that guy flat, and then I can stick the controller's cable ribbon back in. Okay. Now I should have slack here. Nope. All right. Might actually have to remove this guy completely. Okay. There we go. Okay, I have enough slack here now. I could slightly shut this door here. So there's like a latch door right here, and that's what holds your ribbon cable for your controller port in. So we're gonna press this guy in. I know it's kind of hard to see. I'm sorry, guys. Get in there. Don't make me have to pull the whole shell off, please. Okay, that's all it gets. Okay. So with that guy pushed in, I'm gonna grab. Hey, no. Why are you being a punk? You gotta be kidding me. Alright, it's being a pain. It's just gonna have to come all the way off. Got ahead of myself on that one. Alright. If I did this every day, it'd be different, but I don't, so. Okay, 2, here. And where'd my door go? Oh no, the door fell off. That's not good. I actually am going to need that door. Oh, there it is. It's stuck to the top of the console. I was like, wait, what? So somehow, I don't know if I like pop the door or if it's broken. I hope it's not broken. Okay. Oh, come on, get back on there. Okay, I need a pair of tweezers. Where'd my tweezers go? All right. Okay. All right, let's do this. Okay. Okay, so for some reason the door is being really finicky, so hopefully I can get the latch back in, because if not, then I'm going to have to, like, figure a way to repair it. And these guys aren't the easiest, like, to easily repair. So, what I'm hoping is that I can get it to... Actually, I think I need to remove from this side. So yeah, I could just remove from this side. Let's do this. That's what I messed up on. It's like I said, it's been a while since I've done these ones, so... So, we'll move it from that side. This is what I should have done in the first place. But, like I said, it happens. Hey, no, stay in there. There we go. Okay. I wasn't getting it in place. So I'll show you guys what I was doing here so that you guys don't feel like you're left out. It's hard to see. So if you look on this little connector right here, you can see the little brown part. It's a door. It lifts up and allows you to slide the ribbon out. And then when you want to put it back in, you slide the ribbon back in, and then you snap the door back down in place. And it actually holds the ribbon in place so that it doesn't slide out. And then it keeps contacts. So there we go. And now we're there. Now we can go back to doing this. Back to where we were doing on the reassembly. With our slight mishap here. And I've said this before in the past and other rebuilds. When you're putting these parts back together, start in your middle and work out. That way, if there is any kind of warping, you don't want to suck the warping to the middle by starting like on either side and then meeting. You want to start in the middle and push the warp outside, because then it will misalign on the outside part and not cause any kind of torsion to happen in the middle, causing more, like I said, again, potential opens, cracked parts, stuff like that, stuff removing itself from the board. So this guy's not warped, but like I said, it can happen. So just, be mindful of that when you're putting stuff back together. It's just like when you're doing a car tire. You don't just throw a car tire on and just start putting the lugs on. You have to go in a star pattern because you want it to tighten down a certain way. So that way it torques down and doesn't like release itself. Okay, that's all those guys back together. Okay, we have that ribbon in. Okay. So we will now put our disk drive back in because that's going to be our next spot. So again, this is where you have to be mindful. Bring you guys down a little bit lower here. Come on, camera. There we go. All right. So this ribbon here, it has to go into this guy. So of course, make sure that your little squeeze pin here is released, because you don't want this one to be your nuisance. And then you're going to have 1, 2, 3 ribbons that go on the outside. Make sure all 3 get back in place, because each one drives a different motor in your controls. This guy right here controls your spinning motor. This guy here controls your worm drive that pushes your laser in and out. And this one here controls this gear and this gear, which makes your door come in and out. So if you miss one, your drive's not going to work correctly. It's going to, one motor or the other is going to have issues, and it won't be able to read discs. So we're going to stand the console up like this. Lay your disk drive flat. Okay. And then get this ribbon kind of placed kind of here. I'm trying to do it where I'm not in the way of you guys, so you can see this one go in. Where did my... Hey, come on, get in there. See what I was doing wrong? I was going to the wrong side. Okay, and once you have it in, you can either use your fingers if your fingers are small enough, or use like a small little press tool. There you have it. Then what you're looking for here is you want to make sure that your come on, camera, focus. I'm getting too much of a blur, too much shiny stuff. You want to make sure that all your pins are equal. You'll see part of the pin sticking out. Make sure they're level, like they're straight across the same distance, because if it's kicked in like slightly at an angle, some pins will look longer than others, and that's what you don't want. So then we want to flip this over very carefully, making sure our other 3 ribbons stay accessible so we can pull them out. Okay. So if they're not, like if they're just right here, if they get kind of sandwiched in here, go in here, grab them, pull them out of the way, just so they don't get trapped. And then what we're going to do is kind of get this guy to sit. There we go. Snaps in. Snaps into place. It'll sit. And it has alignments. So it'll hold itself into place. And then now we got to get these 3 ribbons back in place. So it's kind of easy with these 2 because they have their little pull tabs. Okay. So what you do is you just grab the pull tab. And if you have a pair of tweezers like this, where it holds instead of releases when you squeeze, or when you release, you can use that guy to kind of grab it and put it back into place. You can actually kind of see the ribbon down here on the bottom shell, so you can kind of use that to help align. And once you kind of get it in place, you just kind of rock it back and forth, and you'll feel it seat. You'll feel it seat in place, and then if you look close enough, you can see like a black line right here where the end of my tweezers are. That black line, that is where I'll tell you that it's actually pushed all the way in or not. Welcome back. Oh, okay. No, I was like, I thought for a second I thought I was missing a ribbon. I was like, wait a minute. Then I remember that's the ribbon for the that's the ribbon for the start and reset button. So if you look right here, you flip it over again, you can kind of see it right here. So you can see the black line moving in and out. So I'm going to kind of just wiggle it. Once I get in place, you can use your finger. I'm just going to kind of wiggle it back and forth. Oh, this one's a little bit more flimsy because it's bigger. So, come on. Get in there. Did I miss the... I don't know, maybe it's all in. Oh, they printed this black ribbon. No, that wiggles way too much. There's no way that's in. Maybe that isn't all the way. Usually that black line will line all the way up against the brown, like the actual housing. That's weird. All right. And then this one's a little harder because it doesn't have your normal tab on it. So you have to just kind of be careful with it. Push it in place. Kind of wiggle it until it seats. This guy's for power, and so it's a little more rugged than your other your actual ribbons here. I said that brown cable just does not feel right. That one just does not feel like it's seating correctly. And it bugs me because I don't want to put it back together to find out that it wasn't seating. Because like I said, usually that, oh, there it goes. Okay. It's a little stiffer than I thought. So there we go. So you can see right here, the black line's now sitting. Get the light properly here. The black line's now sitting all the way up against the connector. So there's your marker to know that it's lined up. So there we go. We have all of our ribbons back on for the disk drive. So now let's go ahead and reassemble our fan housing on the back, because we need to get this fan plugged back in here. And it can only go in one direction. So and this tape's kind of like meant to be like a holder, keeps the wires down. Am I going to test it once I'm done? Yes, of course. You always have to test it when you're done. You have to make sure it works. Okay. So this guy back in place. Why does that feel not right? There's no other. Maybe that's gotta go. It has to go like this. Oh, okay. I didn't get it underneath that lip. There we go. It's like, wait, it has to go this way. Okay, there we go. All right, so now you want to be careful because, like I said, you have this big connector right here. It needs to go on these 4 pins, but you also don't want to bend or break any of the other parts. So flip it over, get these pins lined up on the 4 big pins here. Kind of push it on. You'll kind of feel it snap into place. Make sure it's lined up. Then this guy has to go on next. Come on. Okay, there we go. All right. Now we get our big yellow screws here. Switch bits again. Oh, that's not the right one. It's these 4 small ones. So like that doesn't fit. So a cool little trick here to remember on most of these consoles, and I'll show you here once I get these other screws in here. Okay, is if you watch and pay attention, you'll see there's these arrows right next to the holes. If I get away from this light here, there's like an arrow right here by my finger. That arrow will tell you that there's a screw that goes on that layer. Meaning there's nothing going to go over the top of it. You have to put a screw through that hole once you see that section. So it's a good indicator if you start kind of losing your way and can't figure out like what screw goes where. That's an easy way to kind of go, oh, this needs to go right here. Or there needs to be something right here, I should say. Okay, this is one of the bigger ones. You don't want to over torque these, but you want to make sure they're down tight. You don't want them to vibrate loose or come loose, because they fall out. They can slide in here and short these pins, and they'll cause your power supply to short out and die. Okay, so now that that's all attached, let's go ahead and get this guy back in place. So the fan needs to come up. This guy needs to kind of slide back in place. Oh. Back in place here. Okay. So now we're going to have, oops, not that one. Went one too far forward. That's for the main housing. Okay, so we're going to have one here. None of your screws should be forced. It should all just kind of screw in. If you start to twist and it doesn't want to go, back it off and screw it back in. Don't try to force it, because that's when you'll cause your screw holes to become cross-threaded and cause more damage. Okay. So now we'll have this guy has to go back into place. So I actually kind of want you guys to see this one. So I'll put this guy back up like this. Okay. I missed the part on here. Right in the middle. Not that it matters, but still dust that could get. What time is it? 3. Okay. All right, so make sure your door, your little press door is open. Sorry, I just realized I was off the camera here. Make sure your press door is open. Your pins are going to be facing downward. If you look in here, you can see the pins are on the bottom. You can see like the copper brass looking color there. Okay, and that, so you want to make sure your pins are facing that direction. You're going to press it in until it slides all the way in. And you know that you're kind of sitting on the back. Press it, and then shut your door on it. And then make sure your door snaps on both sides, and there you go. You have your connector back attached and back in place. Then we want to make sure that we get our power connector here reattached. So make sure the white wire goes in there like that. It only goes on one direction. You can't reverse this guy. So just make sure it's seated and snapped in place, and you're good to go there. Okay. So that's most of the console. We'll get the last two pieces on once we get the shell cleaned. So let's go through the shell here. Okay. So first thing we're going to do here is I need to clean this guy off. And we're going to grab some Dawn here. Okay. So I have some Dawn dish soap in this little yellow bowl. I'm going to grab a paper towel. And we will start getting our case all nice and clean here. And this is the difference between me and a lot of other people I've seen. Is I've seen a lot of other people will legit rip a console apart, clean, and fix the one spot that's bad. And they won't even worry about the rest of the console. Like, as long as the outside looks good, they'll just send it, and I don't like that. I want to make sure that there's no dirt inside or anything that could potentially come loose and end up getting back inside the console, causing another issue, because then it looks like it was my fault, even though it potentially was or wasn't. So I don't want it to be my fault. So I like to go through and really give a good job. And then, of course, if you're using, water, you want to make sure it's dry before you put your console back in it. If you're using soap, make sure you get all the soap out. Don't just go, oh, it's fine, it'll dry out, because soap can cause other issues too. So just make sure you do a good job drying it out. So let's do the top here. Make this top all nice and shiny again. As much as we can, right? Without like going super nuts on it. Okay, grab another paper towel here. Look how shiny that looks. And we're not even done yet. We don't even have all the soap off yet. Basically, a little Dawn soap, some water. Look how clean that looks. I rinse it out. I dip it back in the bowl. I clean it out. And then every now and then I'll just come through and I'll take it on a brush or a piece of paper, paper towel, and I'll just kind of clean it off. And then I'll just go in there. So, yeah, look how nice that looks now. Oh, that looks really clean. So now let's get in here, get the sides. Let me pull this camera back up a little bit, so you guys aren't so close to. Okay. So, wrong side. I'm just cleaning this side. All right. Grab my dry. Get in here. Okay. Just use my wet towel here. Up the back. Okay, same thing. I'll just There's really nothing here to worry about like getting in between, so I'll just use my wet paper towel to kind of come in and wipe off, and I'll use my dry to get rid of it. Okay. Now we'll come in here. There's dirt and crap in here, of course. Kind of the point, right? Like, if I'm going to get paid by someone to do a repair, I want it to look the best I can get it. I need to take each one of my consoles apart and do the same thing. So, get the doors open, get the door cracked. So, there we go. Look at that. I mean, that looks really nice, really clean. I think this customer is going to be super happy with the result. So, okay, that's that piece. Now we got one more. We got the worst piece because we have now the one that's got all the dirt and a little vent fan here down here. So this is where I'm gonna hit it with the air cannon first. I'm gonna mute real quick. All right, so there we go. Now we have as much as I can get out with the air can without like ripping apart everything. So now we'll just go through and just scrub it again. Just do what I did with the top half and see if we can't get the same result. See if we can't get a nice clean system here. Since we have a wet one with soap on it, we'll just use this guy to hit all the flat spot in the middle. Uh-oh. Just realized something. I just realized something. When I dropped it earlier, I broke that piece off. When it slid off earlier, that bang I had, that piece broke off. Damn it. Oh, that's not good. There it is. There's the piece. No, the ones that are sitting on the shelves, I haven't done yet. All right, hold on. that's no good. So, since I broke that, I'm going to have to donate mine. So, we're going to pull my bottom off of mine. And I'll just have to look for me a new one. Sucks, but it is what it is. I'm not going to make the customer pay for my mistake. So, bear with me as I rip the bottom off of my console. To see how dirty mine is. Because I haven't ripped it apart yet to clean it either. See how bad mine is. Kind of sucks though, because I'll have to find me a broken shell or a broken system to steal the shell from so that I can put mine back together. But then again, mine's a hodgepodge system anyways. This was one I took out of a yard sale that was really nasty, and it was missing parts. And I put a new laser in it. I put a new power supply in it. So, come on. Give me my... Want the bottom. Give me the bottom. Wait, do I have to remove? Oh, maybe I gotta remove these two screws. Okay. That's why. I almost forgot about that. Now I should be able to there we go. Put this button over here. And I'll worry about putting mine back together later. Bottom, top, that's my new bottom, my new top, okay. Alright, so, well, thankfully, mine's already a lot cleaner, so we won't have to do a whole lot, and it's not busted, so, like I said, it sucks to do that, but, like I said, I'm not gonna charge her for something I busted. It's just not how it works. So I'll find me a new shell. I've kind of wanted to buy a clear shell anyways, so it'll work out. It'll all work out in the end. It's fine. Set the guy over there so it doesn't get dropped again. That's mine. Set all my screws here off screen, so I don't think I have extras and think I've missed something. Okay. So now we need to take the console. Alright. Before we get too far, I gotta get this guy back in actually. Almost forgot about that guy. almost got ahead of myself because of me breaking that shell piece. Okay, let's get this guy back in here. Come on. Okay, I think I got it all in. Okay, feels like it's all in, so that's good. All right, now we can put it back together because we have that last ribbon in. Okay, would you please quit flipping over on me? Okay. There we go. Okay. Set this guy. This ribbon needs to go back in. Slide in. There it goes. There we go. Alright, now if I quit headbutting the freaking glass here. Nope, that's not there. Okay. Alright. So the camera ended up crooked here. There we go. Okay. 2 smalls for the outside. Nope. Where do these 2 go? I got the fans in. That's the drive. That's the drive. Drive. Outside. See, now I'm worried. Where the hell did the 2 extra screws come from? Those actually might have already been there. But let's double check. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Three, 2, 3. Oh wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I'm kind of thinking those were there before. That's why I need to clean out my stuff better before I start, because they look like they go here, but I'm not. Can't think of anything I missed. Everything's on. No, that's not what I want. This guy. All right. So now, this guy. What are you doing? Trying to remember how this stupid ribbon goes. Okay, this is some dumb ribbon, like they had it go in some weird way. Annoying. Ah, that's right. Okay. I forgot. Okay. This guy actually comes out turns, it comes out the bottom here like this. So this ribbon goes out like this. I didn't get to see that part because whoever took it apart before me had taken the screw out and never put that screw back in. So I'm going to take one of these extra screws and see if it fits in that hole. Hey, check that out. There we go. Now it's even better than it was before. Okay, so we flip that guy over. And then just like before, when we took it off, we started from the front. So we take the front, we lean it over, make sure all the ports line up. And then we just slide it on, lay it on top. And we make sure that everything kind of should just kind of like snap right back in place on this side right here. Oh. So why does mine have a screw there? What the hell? That's weird. Okay. That screw is actually held on. Oh, I put it in the wrong hole. That's why. Dumbass. This is the one that ties the system together. I put it in the wrong hole. There's a hole right here. Down lower is what holds that guy into place. So that you can take the system off and the buttons don't fall and wiggle. There we go. Now it's falling into place. I was like, what the hell? Okay, there we go. Okay, so like I said before, start from the middle. That guy's not tight yet. I just kind of put the first thread in. Because you want to start from the middle. And you want to, because I'm now taking a piece from a different console, putting it in here, they're not necessarily going to line up perfectly. So I want to suck the middle down first and make sure that all the, any warp goes to the outside. So. Okay. Now we'll put these outside ones in. Okay, then we'll go to the middle outside. Put this guy in here. Okay, there we have it. Now we'll put all the pieces back into place. Okay. So your rubber ones will go on the outside. So those are your foots when you have it sitting down. Keeps it in place. So we'll put those guys in first. That's not rubber, that is. Okay, and then we'll put these ones in here. There's going to be plastic. They shouldn't be hard to push in. Just set them square. And they'll just kind of almost slide in. Give them a little bit of push. They'll snap. But if you push them in kind of crooked or cockeyed, they will break the legs off. And then they'll wiggle, potentially fall back out, stuff like that. So. And then we'll put the expansion bay door back on, and there you have it, guys. Freaking system is back together. Super clean. missed here. Just a little final touch up. So there we have it. There we go. Oh, I threw the paper towel in the water. Nice. Okay, well, I don't need them anymore anyway, so we'll throw these over the trash. Okay. So there we go. I guess there is something I forgot to kind of scrub off here. We want to be careful. I don't want too much water in there. So we'll grab a paper towel. Make sure the brush is somewhat clean and dry. Get just a little bit on there. Get the door a little better here. Can't have the door looking dirty and have everything else looking all sharp, right? There we go. Yeah. So there you go. Look how sharp and clean that looks. Nice. Like Christina said earlier, I mean, it looks almost like a brand new system. So, all right. Let's move this down so I don't drop anything else in it here. Get this out of the way. Put some of my tools back here. And we will hook this guy up and test it. See if make sure it works. Alright. So let's see the power wire fell. Get the power wire here. It fell again. Come on. There we go. Alright, so power wire. Okay. My cheap little PS2 connector to HDMI connector. It works for testing purposes. I didn't care for it for streaming or recording PS2. Because it didn't actually come out super shiny. So we're going to work that grease in a little bit. So we have power. But I want to work the door in and out a few times to get that grease going and working in there, because that will help that door kind of come out smoother. All right, so let's see. Where's my other dongle here? Here we go. Okay. Let's see which. That's the mic. I don't want to get rid of that guy. Oh. Okay, in order to plug that guy in, I have to get my USB bridge working, so we'll have to do it this way. Okay, there we go. How can I do this without making you guys dizzy? Because last time I tried to do this and I tried to move the camera, I made everyone dizzy by shaking everything up. So I don't want to do that again. But like the only thing I can unplug here is my microphone. Because unfortunately I do not have that many USB drives. Alright, let's see. Now I feel like a crap streamer because I didn't think about this before I started. This is still a work in progress. But the game's up, so give me a sec here. See if I can't find a way to get you guys a visual of it. The only problem with trying to do this off of my MacBook is my MacBook only has so many video out ports. So okay, let's see if this worked. There we go. It did work, but not very good. Let's make this guy bigger. So, okay, we're going to start without. Yes. I'll have... That was loud, I'm sure. Sorry about that. I'm sure that was loud as hell. So, but there we have it. What the hell? Try to get the light out of the way. So, it's been a while since I played this one, so Kuma. There we go, Ken. I'll make sure next time I do a repair stream that I have my USB port set up so that I can actually do an HDMI in, not just off of the monitor or the camera. Ouch. I kick fast. Like I said, it's been a while since I've played this, so I don't remember all the attacks. Probably should play it more. Oh, he reversed it. What do you mean I have too much stuff? What are you talking about? I don't have too much stuff. Apparently I don't have enough. Not enough ports. Cammy! Hey, come on. Hey. We'll get revenge. Alex would be disappointed right now if he'd seen the way I was playing. But there we go. Alright, so that takes care of that. What we're going to do is, so the one thing I like to do here is I always test, no, stay out, I didn't want you to go back in, is I always test with different games. So the reason why I use Capcom versus SNK2 is because it's a CDR setup. I also like to test with PS1 games. So we'll pop in a PS1 game here and just make sure that it can read both, because these consoles are backwards compatible. So they will play PS1, PS2 games, but they use a different part of the laser. So I always like to put in both a PS1 and a PS2 game to make sure that it can play both, because you can have a laser issue where one won't load. I've seen it. I've had to fix it. So, but as you can see right here, PlayStation logo is coming up. Blitz will load up pretty quick. And it is a black back disc, so therefore it does test full capability of what the laser can do. It's changing frequency. Might not actually like the frequency I'm on. Hold on. Doesn't this guy? Yes, right here. No. Huh. Thought this guy had... What? Why'd you go that way? Too funny. I don't know how that happened. Thought there was a switch on this guy to change whether it went weird. Okay, we have to change the output here. My little dongle apparently does not like the PlayStation 1 frequency, so I'm gonna have to change it from the composite to component. Oh wait, shit. I forgot to go take the disc out. Come on. Because it's going to try to load right into the PlayStation 1. So we got to take the disc out so that I can go to system config. And then change this to RGB. Now I remember why I didn't like this dongle. Because this dongle does not like that other mode. So this is why I dislike this one. So, where did this other guy here? We'll go back to this guy here. I forgot how much that thing hates that thing. So we'll just go back to the original. AV out here. What are we doing? We're just working. Okay, so there we go. Now we'll pop in the PS1. Let's see what happens here. Come on. Okay, back to the PlayStation logo. There it goes. Okay, see? I was kind of afraid. I was like, wait a minute, is it not going to load? Like, maybe there was a problem. So there we go. So, PS1 games work, PS2 games work. It works. There we have it, guys. Another successful PS2 video game console repair and restore. Got this guy cleaned up. It looks really shiny and nice. So I will be getting this thing packaged up and going over to back to its customers so she can enjoy it and start playing her her retro games that she wants to play. And with that, guys, I'm gonna say goodnight. I gotta get off of here. I gotta start getting ready to take my daughter down to gymnastics, and he wants to give me a tour of the garage. Yeah, there's nothing really to show you. It's just a garage. Workbench. I got tons of broken consoles back here, parts, cables, stuff like that, tools. There's nothing to show here. The rest of the garage, you know, I got a bunch of stuff. I just did a restoration on my laundry room, and so I have a lot of trash in my garage right now from pulling old cabinets down and stuff like that. So, but with that, guys, I do appreciate you hanging out. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you enjoy. And I'll see you next time. I'll make sure I do a better job getting this camera set up and making sure I have an extra port to do an HDMI in off of my MacBook. So that way you guys can see it without me just turning the camera around and stuff like that. It's work in progress out here with this setup. I'm just glad the MacBook's doing well and actually handling it. I was kind of afraid how I was going to stream out here, whether I was going to have to like use my cell phone or my MacBook, or not my MacBook, my iPad, and like stream straight off of my GoPro and then not be able to use like a second camera or something like that. So, but with that, guys, like I said, this console's done. This console's repaired. And I appreciate you hanging out. And I will see you guys next time. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow, comment, all that good stuff. And yeah, look forward to the no commentary videos I have up. I have a lot of stuff going up into the channel right now, besides doing these live repairs and stuff like that. So again, I'll see you guys next time. I'm out, and this camera's glitching out again.